Good morning, class 9 students. Today, students, I am coming back for revision to the language of chemistry, which is one of the lessons for the first term examination. And children, in video 8, we finished the study of chapter 6, study of first element hydrogen. But today in video 1, let us revise some very important things of language of chemistry that you had learned at the beginning of April. We see here, children, that one of the important things for chemistry is to develop a language. And the language of chemistry is all the chemicals. So for using the chemicals, we use symbols. And these are the short forms that are used for an element, children. Let us revise the qualitative meaning of the term symbol. We see what a symbol depicts or what it shows. It shows a particular element or one atom of a particular element. For example, S is a representation of the atom of element sulfur, children. Likewise, in quantitative meaning of the term symbol, we see that symbol also represents the weight of an element. For example, for carbon 12, we see that it represents how many times an atom is heavier than one atomic mass unit or AMU, which is defined as 1/12 of the mass of a carbon atom isotope C12. Or instead of carbon 12, we can also take nitrogen as a symbol. So nitrogen would have atomic mass unit 14. Likewise, we can use hydrogen symbol in place of carbon, and hydrogen will have atomic mass unit 1. So children, this is how we represent the symbol of an element and what it shows to us. Children, in 1814, there was a chemist by the name of Berzelius, and he suggested a very simple system of representation of elements in a very easy way, because before that the scientists they had been representing elements in a pictorial way, which was very difficult for anybody to understand, because the elements, they were depicted as various figurative symbols, as we can see here. So it was very difficult for common man or for the chemist to remember these figurative elements. And so Berzelius gave a very easy way of writing the symbols of elements. In most cases, the first letter of the name of an element atom is taken. For example, C is used to represent carbon. It is the first letter of carbon. Likewise, S is the first letter for sulfur, children. And in cases where the first letter has already been used, then we use the first letter of the name followed by a second letter. For example, we use Ca for calcium, where C is the first letter and A is the second letter, so small a we use. Likewise, Si is used to represent the atom of silicon. So in cases where the metal atoms are derived from Latin names, we write symbols as follows. We write copper for the Latin name cuprum, and so we give it the symbol Cu. Likewise, we see on page number 2 here, many of them have been represented here. We see in page number 1, Here we see there are many of the Latin named elements, like iron is called ferrum, so we write Fe, and potassium is called kalium, so we write K, and gold is called aurum, so we write Au. Likewise, silver is called argentum, so we write Ag for argentum, and lead is called plumbium, so we write Pb for lead, and sodium is called natrium, so we write Na for sodium, and for mercury we write hydrangeum, which is represented by the symbol Hg. So like this we see, children, that the symbols were written for various elements. And we see here, children, that in the study of elements, we also come across valencies. Now, what is valency? Valency is the number of hydrogen atoms that can combine with, or that can be given out with one atom of the element or radical to form a compound is called valency. For example, the valency of hydrogen and of the alkali metals is represented by +1, because all these atoms of alkali metals and of hydrogen, they can lose one electron, so they get positively charged. Like for example, hydrogen, iron gets a valency H1 plus, potassium K +1, sodium Na +1, and lithium also Li +1. Then we see that, for example, elements that are having positive valency 2. So these elements are magnesium with positive valency 2, beryllium with positive valency 2. Then there are elements that gain electrons and they have negative valency because of gaining electrons. One of the examples here is chlorine. Chlorine atom, it requires just one electron in its outermost shell, and so it gets a -1 negative charge. Likewise, fluorine also gets a 1 minus negative charge. Bromine element also gets a 1 negative charge. Then there are elements that can gain 2 electrons instead of 1. For example, oxygen. Oxygen has got the negative charge on it, or the negative valency on it, O -2. Likewise, sulfur has got S -2. So these are the various valencies that we are seeing here. Then we see that the metals that can lose 3 electrons, they get 3 plus valency. For example, aluminium. Aluminium, when it loses 3 electrons, it becomes triple charge and it has got valency Al3 plus. Then elements that gain 3 electrons to get 3 minus valency, for example, nitrogen, which gain 3 electrons. So nitrogen gets the valency N-3 to form nitride. Then we come to another term, variable valency. What is variable valency, children? Let us revise it. Certain metals, they exhibit more than one valency, and thus showing variable valency or different valency. For example, in the table on page 2, we see various elements with variable valency. For example, cuprous shows valency 1 and cupric shows valency 2. And here we see mercurous shows valency 1 and mercuric shows valency 2. Likewise, argentus shows valency 1 and argentic shows valency 2, which is silver. Then for gold we have aurus, which shows valency 1, and auric shows valency 3. Likewise, for iron we have ferrous, which has got variable valency +2, and ferric, which has got variable valency +3. Likewise, we have got lead with variable valency 2 plus, and which is plumbous, and we have Pb plus 4, which is plumbic. Then we have stannous and stannic with valencies 2 plus and 4 plus. Likewise, we have manganous and manganic, which has valency of 2 plus and 4 plus. Likewise, we have platinous and platinic with valencies 2 plus and 4 plus. So we see that variable valencies are there for many of the metals. And what is the reason that the metals, they show variable valency? An atom of an element can sometimes lose more electrons than are present in its valence shell, and that is why it shows more than one valency. For example, the loss from the penultimate shell, the second last shell of electrons, hence exhibits more than one valency or variable valency. Then let us see what radicals are. We all know, children, that there are positive radicals and there are negative radicals. Radicals, these are the group of atoms of elements that behave like a single unit. These are the groups of atoms of elements that behave like a single unit and shows a valency. For example, here ammonium shows a valency NH4 plus 1, and this is also an example, children, of a positive radical which does not have a metal in it. So this is a very good example of that, which can be asked in your exam also. Then we see there is negative valency in the radicals. We see that there is negative valency in the radicals. For example, there is an OH radical or hydroxide radical. It has got a negative valency 1. Children, then there are many other valencies which you can study from your book. There are many valencies that are given here. For example, there are monovalent electropositive valencies, like ammonium has got 1, Aurus has got 1, Argentus has got 1, Cuprous has got 1, hydrogen 1, lithium 1, sodium 1, potassium 1, mercurius 1. Likewise, children, we have divalent electropositive radicals, where argentic shows 2, calcium shows 2, magnesium shows 2, valency 2 plus, and manganese shows 2 plus, like that. Then there are trivalent electropositive radicals, children, which we can see here. For example, aluminium shows 3 plus, arsenic shows As3 plus, and bismuth shows Bi3 plus. Likewise, there are tetravalent electropositive valencies like plumbic or lead, which shows Pb4 plus, stannic, which shows Sn4 plus, etc. Then, children, we have got the negative ions or the acid radicals or the negative valencies. Let us take a few examples here. We have got monovalent electronegative valencies of elements like acetate CH3COO minus 1. Likewise, we have got bromine with valency minus 1, chlorine valency minus 1. Then we have got fluoride with valency F minus 1, hydride with valency H minus 1. Likewise, we have got divalent electronegative radicals like carbonate with CO3 valency minus 2, dichromate valency minus 2, Cr2O7 and valency is minus 2. Then we have peroxide O2 with valency minus 2. Likewise, we have trivalent electronegative radicals also, like arsenate with valency AsO4 valency minus 3. Then aluminate, ALO3, 3 minus valency. Then we have got borate with BO3, 3 minus valency. Then there are tetravalent electronegative radicals also. For example, carbide with the valency C, 4 minus is the valency. So we see that these are so many valencies of so many negative radicals. Now let us come to what a chemical formula is, children. A molecule of a substance, that is the element or compound, could be represented by symbols, and this representation is known as chemical formula. For example, the chemical formula of hydrochloric acid is HCl. The chemical formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4. The chemical formula of water is H2O. So we see these, this is how chemical formulas are written. For example, an element represented as monoatomic, in which it can exist as a single atom, will be known as a monoatomic molecule. For example, we have helium as a monoatomic element. We have got neon, Ne, as a monoatomic element. So these are some examples of monoatomic molecules or monoatomic elements. Now, what is an element, children? It is a pure substance which cannot be decomposed into simpler substances by ordinary chemical means. Please learn this definition for exam. For example, Ag, Au, Fe, Cu, etc. all these are elements. Then what is a compound? It is a substance which is formed by the chemical union of two or more elements united in a definite proportion by mass. For example, H2O is a compound, and we have got H2SO4 also as a compound. Then we have got CO2 as a compound of carbon and oxygen. So children, learn these definitions which are important from exam point of view. So children, we will further revise with the valency chart and with other details of this first chapter, language of chemistry, in the next video. So children, for today we will stop this video here. Wish you all the best. Have a good day. Thank you.